Good evening, friends, and welcome to another edition of Speaker Circle. This evening, I have with me, as you can see on the screen, the lovely Wantaise Davis.
Hi, how you doing?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being a guest on Speaker Circle.
Girl,
Wantaise is a manifestation coach, a dynamic speaker, and just an all-around phenomenal woman. I absolutely love and adore her. She's big about personal accountability and taking control for what you want in your life and how you can manifest the absolute best results. So Wantaise, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this phenomenal field.
Oh my gosh. Just to kind of give you an overview, I grew up in a very interesting time where I was the one who blamed everyone for everything that went wrong in my life. And it just so happened I was vulnerable enough to just ask God, show me where I went wrong. Give me a blueprint. And God introduced me to an amazing person in 2013. And they told me about the law of attraction. And I remember I was hooked. I was like, wait a minute. So I'm creating this reality that I live in. And he was like, yeah, every bit of it. And I became obsessed with it. And so obsessed, I started just generating just whatever I wanted at the time, whether it was money, if it was a place to stay, if it was healing relationships. Wow. So then as far I got into the coaching field and I just wanted to tell everybody about this thing. So that's a short synopsis about how I got involved with law of attraction.
Now I have to ask because I love the whole concept of law of attraction. I believe in it. And one of the things that really changed my perspective was I watched The Secret. Did you?
Yes. The Secret was extremely beneficial for me. Love it.
Yes. And I also love Jack Canfield. He has a book called The Success Principles. I just think he's a phenomenal speaker. And yeah, I love that because I think people don't realize whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're always right.
You're right.
That's right. So, we're here to talk about better communication and how we can improve ourselves and our mindset. And the ironic thing is, I shared with you, I'm doing a little bit of decluttering and organizing. I have one of my best friends, Nadia, who is here, and she is literally making me face these demons of all this stuff that I guess I have some hoarding issues. But I found some of my old goals and vision boards. And it's kind of like John Asserfett when he had that moment. And I was looking at them and I'm like, things that I wrote down 10, 20 years ago, I'm only 21, so 20 years ago when I was a little baby.
I love it.
That stuff is happening. So you mentioned you've been manifesting things. What is one thing that you have done that you're like, this really is true manifestation?
Oh my gosh, several things, but let's just start with the past. My first real manifestation when I was consciously manifesting, I didn't have a job. So at the time, he told me about the law of attraction. He said, hey, okay, so what is the one thing you want to manifest? I said, listen, I need some money in my life. So he said, okay, well, I need you to recite something every day. And I said, what is that? He said, jobs are coming my way every day. My phone is ringing off the hook. And I said, he said, say that consistently, don't cease. So I said, okay. I did it for 2 weeks. Nothing happened. So I called him. I said, hey, this stuff isn't working. He said, okay, well, pick a date. When do you want to start working? Now, this was January 2014. So I said March. He said, give a specific date. I said March 10th. He said, why March 10th? I said, it's believable to me. He said, perfect. So he said, keep saying it over and over again. Jobs are coming my way every day. My phone is ringing off the hook. Sure enough, I got a call. I was able to pick the job that I wanted. So I start the training, get out of training. I'm on the floor doing my normal thing. And there's this girl behind me who says, hey, when did we start this job? And I said, I don't remember. And then the young lady in front of me said, we started on March 10th.
Whoa, you just gave me goosebumps.
Girl,
out there.
After that point, I said, this thing works. So then I tested everything. So that was the first thing I manifested. And from that point on, it's just been like, you know what? I want this. So let me figure out a way to do that. But I'll tell you, it's interesting because there's so many different tools and tricks to it. But ultimately, it's just being in alignment with yourself, really believing and knowing that it's already done and just kind of going on with life. And like you said, you've been able to manifest all these things on your vision boards that you just pulled out, so just going on with life. So yeah, that was the first thing I manifested consciously, and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow. And I think that's so powerful. And one thing I feel like people forget is also believing you deserve it. We are the biggest, I don't know, I know I am, and a lot of people are guilty of self-sabotage, where you tell yourself, I can't do this, I don't need this, or I don't deserve this. And even if you're not saying it, if you're doubting stuff, you are truly saying it indirectly, right? So how can people get into the mindset, like we're talking today about cultivating this growth mindset? What are some tools and tips that you can offer our viewers on how they could start shifting and manifesting greatness in their life?
All right, love. I have 5. This is like my top 5. The first thing I say, let's do some self-discovery, and let's really listen to the way we talk to ourselves. I was notorious for telling myself that I wasn't good enough, or this is going to be hard for me to do. This is a challenging moment for me. I don't have this, I don't have that. And I had no idea that I was creating more of that thing. So the first thing I would say is take a look at what you are saying. What are you saying to other people? What are you saying in your conversations? Are you highlighting the things that you want to affirm or the things that you want to manifest? So just to give you an example, let's just talk about relationships for a minute. If you're the type of person who is asking the universe, asking God for a partner, then what are you saying about relationships in general? Are you saying that good men or good women don't exist? Are you have you gotten caught in a conversation with a friend that's maybe having a challenging moment in their relationship? Instead of joining that and saying, oh, you're right, this is how men and women are, just say, no, you can have anything. If you want this thing to work out in your favor, it is so. We have the power to speak over our lives. So let's start by watching how we speak to ourselves. And you can just take some affirmations, just jot them down. I like to use the I am method. I am powerful. I am supportive. But sometimes you do have to work your faith level to get to the point to believe that. So it can be something as simple as, I deserve a great partner. I am a loving person. I have everything I need right now, and I let it be so. So I think it just kind of depends on the person, but find what works for you. I have a friend I used to work with. She used to always say that I am Azra the Great, right? And it was a joke, but lo and behold, years have passed, and everything she touches is just phenomenal. It's polished. It's excellent. So I said, wow, you created this affirmation years ago, and now look at you reaping the benefits of that. Like literally, I thought that was extraordinary.
Right? I believe it.
Yeah.
I love that you said that, because we do. And I saw a comment, Derek Lott just said, self-sabotage is true. And I like how you were talking about when you're talking to your friends about relationships.
Right.
If you are, feeding into the negativity and doubt, then you're absolutely right. A few girlfriends of mine from college, we had a girls' weekend this weekend, and 4 different people, and we all have 4 different perspectives about relationships. And I think it's important to hear what people have to say, but at the end of the day, you have to be focused on what you want. So I love that. Change your self-talk, do some affirmations. What other things do you recommend? I know that was number 1. So what's number 2?
Number 2 is literally, you have to determine what you want. What is your new mindset? Like even in this time we're in right now, it's a very interesting time. That's my favorite word. Is it could be good, bad, or indifferent? We're in an interesting time right now where some people have lost hope, or they just don't know where to turn. So I would say, what is it that you want to create next? This is a great opportunity where a lot of us are working from home. We have an awesome amount of time available. So I said to myself, just like you're organizing your workspace. I said, I need to get better with consistency. So I said, if I want to be more of a consistent person, I need to create a schedule for myself. I need to actually thing in motion. So, I just started highlighting those things. Okay, Monday through Friday. And if that seems stressful to me, Okay, we'll bring it down a notch. Let's just focus Monday, you know?
Having that self-talk and really doing the evaluation, because
Absolutely.
I love to talk about toxic positivity, where you're so positive to the point where it's toxic to you because
Right.
you're not facing the ills in your life. So I like
Very
that. I love that. So you said determine the mindset you need.
determine
Great.
the mind and get it in motion, you know, get moving. It's
Take it
okay.
out.
Take
What
action.
else would you say, Wantaise, is another way for us to cultivate this mindset? I love it. You're just giving me so much excitement. I love it.
Surround yourself with people who match that vibe, or with things that match that vibe. For me, I love for my day to start at its highest. So I may throw on a motivational video. I may throw on some meditation music. I'm really big on guided meditations, especially the ones that have you to recite affirmations throughout the day or throughout the morning.
You
So,
recommend any particular ones? And
oh my gosh, just go on YouTube. It's free. And just type in guided meditations. You can put, let's just say if you're having struggles with anxiety, type in guided meditations for anxiety, guided meditations for weight loss. Like I'm in the process of losing weight. So it's just saying kind words to stuff like, I am sexy now, honey, before I lose this weight. Okay. So we have to speak to ourselves in that way. So definitely, and hang around people who are like you. Like I have some friends that I can just bounce ideas off of, or if I'm having a moment, they say, hey, you know what you're doing.
Yes.
All is working in your favor. Everything is being rigged in your favor. All is well. So hang around people who match that vibe. Absolutely.
And when you are off track, they will put you back on. So that's so important. It is so important. I know that old saying, birds of a feather flock together. If you're around people who are okay with mediocrity, which I'm not saying that's not okay, then that's the type of energy that they're going to give you. But if you're with people who are constantly pushing you and making you uncomfortable and challenge you, you're going to rise up to the occasion. So I love it. All right. So we had change your self-talk was the first one. Determine the mindset you need and get in motion. Surround yourself with people or things that match your new mindset. And what's your next?
Listen, we have to create new habits for this new mindset. It's just what it is. I used to be a person who would like to sleep until the last minute. So now I have set my clock. I know it's early, right? Girl, I used to wake up at 5, so now I wake up at 3. And the whole idea, AM. Yeah, but the whole idea behind that is that means I have to go to bed earlier. So I'm making myself get the required rest that I need for the following day. And then getting up at 3 allows me to work out until 4. Then I get to pray, meditate, shower, and then be ready at 5 a.m. for whatever I need to do before I start my job. So it works for me. Now, for everyone else, it might be 8 o'clock. It may be waking up 30 minutes prior to, but that's the formula that works for me. So just create new habits, getting out and about, taking a walk, focusing on your self-care.
Yes.
Yeah. So just depends, whatever habit you need to change. So that's something I really need to work on, get adequate amount of sleep and then be your productive self the next day.
I love that. And kudos to you. When you said 5 o'clock, I was like, wow. And then you're like, now 3?
3.
That's impressive. Right. That's impressive. And what would you say is a final mindset change that we can round out these phenomenal tips you've been giving us?
Thank you. Get out of your comfort zone. That may be one of the hardest things for us to do, but in order to create any new reality, you must become that. And sometimes you, just like yourself, you said earlier, you got to face those demons, you got to face those fears. Like for me with speaking, for the longest I was like, I want to be a speaker. And someone said, well, when have you spoken? When are you going to get on stage and speak? So a friend of mine just had an event and I spoke. That was a couple of years ago. And then from that on, it was just like, okay, here's the next one. Here's the next one. And although I was nervous, I was a little scared, but I said, this is really what I want to do. I want to encourage people that they can change their reality by the way they think. Yeah. So get out of your comfort zone.
Now, for those of us who get out of our comfort zone and then it does feel uncomfortable, and a lot of us don't like that feeling, what did you do, or how did you maintain staying out instead of saying, okay, I tried it, I'm going back in? Like maybe you got on stage and forgot what you were going to say and felt so fearful that you were like, I'm not speaking again. How did you power through that?
I remembered my why. Why are you doing this? And anytime I got stuck on stage, I said, just tell them your story. This is a conversation. You're
Yeah.
having a conversation, a back and forth exchange with people who are eager to hear what happened in your life to help you get to this point. That's the easiest story that you can tell, is your story. So remember your why. Why are you doing this? And I just believe that somehow, some way, your spirit just kicks into gear and say, okay, stay focused. You got this.
I love that. One other question I had for you, which is I've always had a challenge with at times, is when you have people who are negativity is just their comfort because fear drives them. So for
Right.
them to be negative, it's easier. When you're
Right.
dealing with someone like that, how much energy do you expend on that before you say, okay, I'm shifting? Or what do you say to someone who just comes out the gate like so negative?
You know what? I usually ask them, like, what is it that you want to create? I always put it back on them. What is it
Mm,
you want to create? Okay, I know you're complaining about X, Y, and Z, but what is the one thing that if you can change things, what would it be? And then it puts them in a space where now they have to think about, well, how can I bring that to be, instead of wondering, why is it not working for me? It shifts the conversation. So I
wow.
use that. And if that doesn't work, then I'm like, okay, it was great talking to you. I'll just talk to you later on because I can't handle that energy right now. But for the most part, I try to change the energy of that conversation by giving them an opportunity just to talk about how positive that experience would be if it was the reverse.
That's
Yeah.
great. It's a powerful thing, and attitude is so contagious. And a
Yes.
lot of times, when someone may have an attitude that's a little less desirable, I look at it as a challenge. Like I want to rub off on you. I want to
Right.
make you feel better. I try to find a spot to uplift that person. And a lot of, kindness is free. You can
It,
say a kind word to someone. It costs you $0, and
right.
they then feel better, and then it's like they're off their defense, I guess,
That's so true. That is so true. I love it.
out of your mindset. So right now, I know you said you're doing manifestation and things. How often should you, like when you're first starting to change your mindset, is this something that you need to do like every 15 minutes? Let me say my affirmations, or every hour? What do you recommend is a good cadence?
I recommend that people find the source of their disbelief first.
Oh, now tell me a little bit more about that. Like if it's your childhood, if you have traumas.
You know what? It's
Or-
your childhood, and it's basically related to some sort of trauma. Like for me, I grew up just not really seeing people manifest what they wanted. So I
Mhm.
was attracted to anything that was on the television. Like, well, if she did it, I can do it. So I think for the most part, people are trying to fight against something that they already have. If we truly believe that we are light beings, if we truly believe that God lives within us and we really take it seriously, that our words create our reality, something shifts within us and it becomes easier. I would tell anyone just to align. Don't make it hard for yourself. You don't have to, recite affirmations the entire day. Just say one affirmation that hits all points. Everything is working in my favor.
I love mine is everything that can go right will go right. I remember my son was born 3 months early. And for anyone who's ever had a child, at 25 weeks, my water broke. And I remember like, I really wanted to get pregnant so bad. So even if I was nauseous, I was like, oh, I'm happy I'm pregnant. I don't care. Like I got morning sickness. And I remember going to the doctor, and then they were like, "Oh my gosh, your water's broke. You got to go to the emergency room." What do you call it? Ambulance me from the
Yeah.
beaches downtown. And the first thing they say to you is everything that could possibly go wrong. Your child is going to have cerebral palsy, either 90% going to be blind, deaf, this. And I remember the neurologist looking at me like, this girl's crazy. I said, if my baby is blind, we'll get him the best Braille books and we'll get him the best whatever he needs. But
Wow.
everything that can't go right will go right. As I wanted to have this holistic and natural pregnancy, birth at
Yeah.
home, all that great stuff, which I love. But here I am with 15 different IVs hooked up. And I was like, well, okay, I didn't anticipate this. But we would sing every top of the hour. So my water broke at 25 weeks. And I was trying to stay pregnant to 32 weeks. So I was in the hospital. I could not get out the bed. And the lady, ironically, next to me, she had too much amniotic fluid, which her belly could have popped. and my belly was deflating. And I was like, if me and this lady could just kind of work out something together. And it really helped me realize what a miracle it is just to be born. Like if you are here, you're already winning, because for every one fertilized egg that goes to full term that's birth, there's hundreds of thousands a day that don't get fertilized, that don't make it, right? So when every top of the hour we would sing to my son, happy unbirthday. Like, you don't need to be born today. This ain't your birthday. So we'd be like, happy unbirthday. And I remember the nurses used to come in every top of the hour and sing with us, because I'm like, what else can I do? I'm sitting here in the bed. I have to believe that everything in this situation, although it's not ideal, that can go right will. And that's exactly what happened. He was born at 27 weeks, which is 3 months early. He's not blind. He's not deaf. He doesn't have cerebral palsy. And if he did have any of those, we would not love him any different. We would give him every opportunity possible. But I just had to stay in that mindset. So when you say manifestation, I 300% agree and believe. When you allow worry and anxiety to be the driver of things that you do each day, it takes a toll on you.
It does. It does. That is true.
Now, I know you mentioned God and spirituality, and I'm a Christian and I believe in God. But for those who do not, or people who are in a very agnostic state, how do you break down manifestation to them?
I just tell them that naturally you have power within you. You know, it's what it is. It comes with us. It's an innate ability that we have to create. You know, if we don't believe that, look at what's surrounding us. You know, the couch I'm sitting on, this was a thought. Someone created this StreamYard, this app that we're using right now just to stream on Facebook. This was a thought before it became a thing. So just either way, I mean, of course, I believe in God, but if there's someone out there that doesn't, just know that God still lives within you and you have this beautiful power to create whatever you want. Yeah.
Love it. I love it. I tell you, Wantaise, it has been such a delight to tap into your greatness. You radiate so much joy and love that there is no doubt in my mind that every single thing that you want to manifest will come to you and exceed your expectations. And I love what you're doing. For those of you listening and watching, please check her out. She's on all social media. And I love how she was so humble. She talked about YouTube. You got to check out her YouTube channel. Her videos are powerful. Please subscribe and like. And I think a little birdie told me you may be coming out with some literature that people can physically look at.
Yeah. I'm actually working on a book. So the deadline is by the end of November. So.
Well, it will happen. It will happen. And I would love for us to have another conversation to talk about it. Will your book be talking a lot about manifestation and
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to definitely talk about how I have created successes and messes. So
I tell people your best power comes from, your best strength comes from your, the things that you have failed at, your best lessons come from your losses. And I think everyone can look back in life and say, when something happened, you thought it was the end of the world, and look at the different direction you're in.
Absolutely.
Do you have any closing comments you want to share with everyone watching today? Which, thank you everyone for joining us. Some good comments. This conversation is just like, you have me so motivated. I love talking about manifestation and mindset. Any closing comments before we say goodbye to everyone?
I would just tell everyone, keep the hope. I know it's an interesting time, but God is still abundant. You are still abundant. It doesn't matter what we're going through. We are still creating beings. We can create anything that we want. And all it takes is just a shift in how we think. That one thing literally can create a full lifestyle and a new reality for you. So definitely stay focused. Stay focused.
I love how you say interesting instead of, oh, it's perilous times. It's challenging. Because we're not going to claim that. It's interesting. It's a challenge.
Right.
Exactly. And that is and you are so interesting and full of life and greatness. Thank you again for joining me. Thank you all for listening and tuning in. We love Speaker Circle. This is a platform for us to grow and learn. So let's continue to grow together. Have an amazing day, Wantaise. Don't forget to check her out on Facebook, YouTube. She's on Instagram as well. And please do not be your breath. Don't let your breath be taken away by her beauty, because she is amazing.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for having me
so much.